What's up, everybody? My name is Holly, and welcome to Traumedy Hour. What's up, people? I'm trying to spin the wheel and choose a topic to discuss because there's so much to choose from. This feels like when I go to therapy and I'm like, all right, which garbage issue am I going to pull out of my pack today? This podcast feels similar in that there's so much bullshit to cover. Which one do I want to choose for today? Earlier today, I was talking to some of my friends in the group chat and expressing how I've been feeling like I'm in this weird funk for the last 6 days. Today's like day number 6. I literally just counted that on my fingers because I can't remember how long it's been. I got back from Hawaii on Tuesday night, really late, like midnight, and I had Wednesday off, and I just felt like I had been hit by a truck. I was literally only out of town for 3.5, 4 days for my sister's wedding on Oahu. It was a great time. It was a great trip, but for some reason, when I got back, I just have not felt like myself, and it's been 6 days. I'm waiting to feel like myself again. So I was kind of working through my feelings with my friends in the group chat. Like, what is wrong with me? Most people would be like super happy to go to Hawaii and come back and be tan and have gone swimming and like had a good time. Nothing went wrong. I mean, nothing went wrong in Hawaii, but something definitely went wrong the day before, which was my wallet got stolen. So I had no driver's license, no credit card, and no debit card. So that happened the day before my trip, which was definitely a stressful few hours, but I got it resolved. I got a temporary license to pair with my passport, and I drove to the credit union and got them to print me a new debit card. So I was okay for the trip. It only took me a few hours, thank God, to fix my issues from having a stolen wallet. That didn't feel like it took up a lot of space in my mind. Maybe it did more subconsciously than I realized, but I felt like a badass bitch when I resolved that in 3 hours. And I was like, I'm gonna go get my nails done. And I did get my nails done, and they actually still look amazing all these days later, a week later, 10 days later. So shout out to Splash Nail Bar. I didn't feel as though that day ruined the trip for me because I wasn't about to hand over the power of ruining an entire vacation to somebody who stole my wallet. I was going to wrestle that power back. And I felt like I did. I didn't want to give I did not want that situation to win. And I feel good about how I handled it. However, coming back from Hawaii, I'm feeling worse this week. This whole last 6 days, I have felt worse than I did about the wallet. I don't know how to explain it. And I'm going to call myself out. This episode is going to be me tattling on myself and psychoanalyzing myself. So get fucking ready. There's a few things happening at the same time. One of the things is that I am a female that has female hormonal cycles, and I am in a moment in my hormonal cycle that I feel extremely irritable and sensitive and tearful, and I have these little moments of intense emotion that's much stronger than normal because my hormones are exacerbating my feelings. So I have that happening. I also have the wallet situation, and I have just normal life stuff. I have a job, I'm in school, I'm trying to do this podcast. It seems kind of insane. So I have regular life things, I have hormonal mood swings going on right now, and then I also took this trip, which I'm starting to realize today, thank you to my friends for working this out with me, being my momentary therapist. I'm realizing that the disruption to my routine really throws a grain of salt in the microchip that is me. It's like throwing a wrench in to my mental health wheels. I don't know how to explain it because I'm just now realizing it in the last few hours that this is happening to me. I would love if I were a rock solid, fly by the seat of your pants, I can travel at the drop of a hat, like no big deal. I don't know. I wish that the disruption to my routine didn't have such an effect on me, but it has a very significant effect on me. So does everything else, really. I'm an empath and I'm a fucking sponge. So part of my aggressive, hard exterior is to protect myself from absorbing too much of people's bullshit. Because I will just absorb all of it. So I've got to protect myself somehow. And I've just established this really rough exterior that some people can't stand. And I totally get it. That's fine. Sometimes I can't stand myself either. Even as I'm talking about it now, there were quite a few factors contributing to my stress. So the stolen wallet for sure it elicited panic and tears from me. So I had a hysterical 30 minutes and then I had to rally together, get my shit together so I could go get a new driver's license photo. And I did not want my new driver's license photo to have me bawling my eyes out because my driver's license got stolen. I was crying because I was hormonal and also because I was afraid I was going to miss my sister's wedding. The moment I realized my wallet was stolen, I immediately thought I'm going to miss her wedding, and it just turned into waterworks because I was like, I'm not going to be able to get on the fucking airplane without a driver's license. Luckily, I have a passport, so I was fine, but I definitely panicked. And it's violating to have someone break into your car and steal shit from you. We're not going to talk about how my wallet ended up in my car. Fine. Roll your eyes at me. Blame me for that being my fault, whatever. I should not have left my wallet in my car, which I did not intend to. Someone jimmy rigged a window and popped the locks and rifled through all my shit and stole my headphones and my masks for some reason. They want to be COVID conscious and they stole my wallet, all my shit, and they tried to spend my money, and the gas station caught them trying to use my card. It was a very stressful day before vacation. Then I go on vacation. Everything goes fine. The flight there goes fine. Everything is totally fine. The whole trip was beautiful and totally fine. While I was gone, my dog was staying with a neighbor who he plays at the neighbor's house every single day and has bonded with their dog. And he was at the neighbor's house for this whole time I was gone. Well, this was the first time I've left my dog. He is only 1.5 years old. I've never traveled since I got him because everywhere I've gone, he's gone with me. I've driven and gone camping and gone to see family and stuff, but he has gone with me. So this was the first time I went somewhere without him, and I wasn't totally sure how it would go because he's severely anxious in my absence. Some may know this as separation anxiety. When he's separated from me, his entire world collapses. But the whole time I was gone, I was getting updates that he was refusing to eat food and treats. He didn't want anything. He was vomiting. He had diarrhea. He just was very distressed that I left him. It's hard to relax and enjoy your vacation when you know your dog is shitting himself from fear and anxiety that you've abandoned him. And I mean, my neighbor's super cool. She's great with dogs and she did a really good job taking care of him. She was feeding him scrambled eggs and trying to get him to eat whatever she could because he refused everything for the whole time that I was gone. And that was definitely stressful for me. I think it was affecting me, but I didn't realize it until I got home. Yeah, he went to town on some of his bones and his food that was in his bowl when we got home because he was hungry, obviously. So that added to some of my distress. I think it dysregulated me. Traveling dysregulated me. And I truly believe that my dog is a little bit of a reflection of me. Everything he's learned from me. So he is an animal, but he also is a small reflection of me. And I get very anxious and dysregulated when my life is not going according to my routine. Maybe I'm a dog. Maybe I'm an animal, honestly. Anyways, I'm still struggling. So today is day 6 of being back from vacation and I'm still struggling. I don't I don't have any motivation. I don't have any energy. I feel a lot of brain fog. I don't enjoy this feeling. I do not like the feeling of being dysregulated. I don't know anybody who does. I don't enjoy feeling foggy and tired. And I do know that some of this is my cycle, my body. I'm biophysiologically having some changes in my brain right now. For those who are not aware, the menstrual cycle of the female body drastically changes your hormone levels for a temporary moment in time. And that in turn drastically changes your brain chemistry and your feelings. And I have learned that, okay, I'm premenstrual or I'm menstruating and my hormones are out of whack. I've learned not to take my feelings too seriously during different moments in my cycle because you can't fully trust yourself. I don't believe that menstrual cycles change your emotions entirely. They don't make you a whole new person. They exacerbate and magnify feelings and emotions that are being triggered or might be lying on beneath something. Like, it's not creating a whole new person in you. It's magnifying what's already there, and maybe it's not that great. I do think it matters to consider your hormone cycles when you're considering your mental health. It does matter because it's affecting your brain chemistry. And unless you think you are above science, unless biology doesn't apply to you, your hormonal cycles are affecting your brain chemistry. Now, this applies to men as well, but I am not a man. I don't understand the cycles of the male hormones and reproductive system. However, I do know that men have fluctuations in testosterone in a 24-hour cycle. So Google that. Talk to your doctor. I'm not a medical professional by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just literally talking out of my ass right now. So if you're a man or you're wondering about the hormone cycles of men or the male species or male body or whatever the fuck we're calling it, then there's an internet and medical professionals that can help you with your questions. I only know how to be me, and I only know what it feels like to be in my body. And it's taken me a really long time to even be able to articulate these things. This is not an easy skill. You can hear my words slowing down because the synaptic firings in my brain are going so hard. They're trying so hard to put this all together. My poor brain is like, please stop. So I'm analyzing myself. I'm analyzing my change in routine. I'm analyzing how my hormonal cycles affect my moods and how I experience life. I'm thinking about how my concern and love for my pets also affected my ability to relax while I was on vacation. And I'm thinking about what in me do I need to accept as this is who I am, and it's not worth it or it's not possible to change it. And what in me can I add to my list of behaviors to modify? Because if you know me, you know that I live for self-improvement like it's an addiction. It's an actual problem that I have. I am addicted to analyzing myself and constantly pushing myself to be better. I'm not always successful. I don't have a 100% success rate in improving myself. Anybody who looks at me or talks to me would know that. One of the things on my list of behaviors to modify is to not always list my behaviors that need to be modified. I'm just kidding. No, I'm trying to shift some of these behaviors I need to change into which of these are just my personality. Somewhere in my lifespan, I picked up the message that to be lovable, I need to continually fix the pieces of me that are broken. I'm now trying to unravel that. And which broken pieces can I just accept that they're broken, and maybe they look like something else that's totally different but still beautiful. Maybe there's pieces that I need to glue back together. Maybe I get to put together a whole new version of, like, you know, I just am learning that not everything that's quote unquote broken needs to be fixed. Maybe it's not broken. Maybe it's just who I am, and I absorbed the message that it's not right, and then I prescribed a change in myself. Wow, I'm gonna get a headache from all this thinking so hard. It reminds me of Jack in Will and Grace when he's like, ow, 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 and he has physical pain. He's like, please stop making me think so hard. That's how I feel right now. Ow, ow, ow. My brain is swelling with all this thought. So I am taking this analysis and this new idea of which parts of me do I need to accept rather than fix. Maybe the fact that I am easily dysregulated by a change in my routine is just part of who I am, and the effort and time it would require to change that is not worth it. I definitely believe that change is achievable in anyone, and anybody can change if they want to. You just have to want it bad enough to do the hard work. So I'm now weighing in my mind, is the hard work of changing that about me, which is very deeply ingrained and very skeletal structure, like we are talking major surgery, quote unquote, for me to change that. It'll take me years of extreme effort to change that about myself. Or should I just accept it? Is it hurting anything in my life? Is it getting in the way of anything in my life? Well, not really. I'm just accepting the fact that breaking my routine dysregulates me and my mental health. And I think I just have to accept that I'm a much more fragile person than I want to be. I don't want to be as sensitive as I am, but I am who I am. And do I want to change that about me? I don't think so. I enjoy the empathy and the friendship and the relationships that I get in return for being a sensitive person. I have very rich friendships and relationships because of my level of sensitivity and my openness and self-awareness. So do I want to trade some of that? No, not really. Do I want to be less sensitive of a person if that means it comes at the price of being less of a deep friend to people? Not really. I don't want to change that. It's like there's usually a cost, that there's a trade-off. Ain't nothing for free, not even your own brain. Yeah, so going on vacation dysregulates me in a very serious way. And I have definitely been in denial about that for my whole life because this is a very typical experience for me. I'm just more self-aware about it now than I was before. And now I have a dog that's affected by my choices. And that is also making me think about how, well, if I feel like this and he feels like this, what's going on here? Yeah, so I'm thinking about it from a different lens and from a different level of maturity now. But historically, I've always been dysregulated by trips and vacations. One, I didn't do a lot of vacationing as a child. We did a lot of relocating. If my math serves me correctly, if my memory is right, we lived in 14 different houses by the time I was 14. And now I'm wondering if that contributed to my dysregulation that happens whenever I leave home. Or is it maybe because I'm an adult now and I've built a home that I don't want to leave? Is vacation more enjoyable when you're leaving a situation that you need a break from? I don't know. Maybe I don't really know. So 14 different homes by the age of 14. I think it was spread between like 4 different cities. We weren't moving neighborhoods every time. We were just moving a lot. And we moved, I live in Washington now. This is the 7th state that I've lived in. I have moved around a lot. That's considered, picking up and traveling technically. A lot of that traveling and moving around was beyond my control. All of it was beyond my control. I was a child. And up until I moved to Washington as an adult by myself, I was at the mercy of my family. Why is it that now, when I have control over the movement and where I'm going and when I'm going there and for how long, why does it feel so dysregulating? Maybe it's because I've never had the opportunity to learn how to adjust to those things. I've just been yanked around and drug around my whole life. I don't know. Dr. Kevin, are you listening? Can you help me with this? Yeah, I just feel like my therapist needs to help me. Yeah, so maybe the fact that my wallet got stolen the day before, and then I have general travel anxiety anyways, and I already have severe anxiety disorder every day of my life. Did you guys know that I am a severely anxious and occasionally depressed person? I have very high anxiety at all times, almost all the time. It just seems like it would be nice to have my friends say, let's fly to California this weekend and, pack a bag, drop the dog off at the neighbors and go to California for a weekend and come back and just go back to work. Isn't that what people do? And then you just go back into the swing of things. Why do I feel like, well, here's part of what it might be. Analyzing myself, I'm thinking of how I manage my mental health, my anxiety, and my depression. The ways that I manage myself and my mental health care is having a routine, not a written down strict day-by-day guide, but a routine that kind of flows through my week. So I have my week-to-week, day-to-day life is pretty predictable. Mondays are usually the same. Tuesdays are usually the same. Wednesdays are, I have a very predictable routine. And having that routine of work, school, gym, walk the dog, have food, take a shower, go to bed, the routine is comfortable and it's something I can count on, and it eliminates anxiety by me knowing what's coming. So I have a very nice calendar that I keep, and I keep track of my calendar very closely, and I always know what's coming ahead weeks in advance. No, I try to plan ahead and have somewhat of a routine without being too rigid and constantly being disappointed and upset. So using that routine and keeping myself with very low anxiety about, what do I have to do today? What do I need to do tomorrow? Where do I need to be? When do I need to get an oil change? Am I supposed to be in a meeting? I don't fuck with that. I always know what the hell I need to be doing, and it's always written down, and it's always on my calendar. And I need that. I need that to feel okay. I cannot manage my anxiety and depression while being a chaotic person. They do not coexist. I need to practice serenity and acceptance and routine and organization in order to combat my anxiety and depression. So I disrupted the routine aspect, and part of the routine is getting exercise every single day for 30 to 60 minutes. I do something every day for 30 to 60 minutes. I walk my dog, I go to the gym, I ride a bike, I go kayaking, I take a hike in the hills, I do something. Every single day I'm doing something to get off my ass and get some fucking endorphins in my brain. And I want to encourage everyone, physical activity is not about the appearance of your body. It's not about being toned and skinny and fit. If you want it to be about that, great. That's fine. If that's what you want it to be about, or that's what works for you, then okay, that's totally fine. It doesn't work for me. Aesthetics do not work for me. I need data, I need logic, I need science, I need reasons. The aesthetic payoff of exercise is not enough of a motivator for me. I don't fucking care enough about my physical aesthetic to be like, oh, I'm gonna be super toned and fit, and no one will be fucking calling me fat. I don't care. Call me fat. I don't know. I'm just yeah, I have extra body fat. So what do you want to do about it? Who's gonna win this fight? I'll just sit on you and you won't be able to fight back. So bring it on. Big girls know how to fight. The physical aesthetic payoff is not enough of a motivator for me to continue with a gym routine. But what is a motivator for me is the endorphins that I get, the good feelings that I get, the brain high that I get, where I feel like I'm achieving a high in a healthy way. Usually it's 30 to 45 minutes that I work out. Today was 25 minutes because that's all I could do, and that's good enough. One of my personal mottos: something is better than nothing. Do something, but don't do nothing. Recently, I've become addicted to Mahjong Solitaire. So I played that on the treadmill to distract myself and get 10 minutes in. So I did 10 minutes on the treadmill while playing solitaire. And you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I believe in you. Watch your fucking shows. I don't know, move your body. And it's not about being skinny. Let me be clear. There is a lot of talk in our culture that you need to exercise to be thin. You need to exercise to be sexy. You need to exercise to be attractive. What if you need to exercise to balance out your brain chemistry and maintain a good level of endorphins and dopamine by a healthy means? So the same high that we get from sugar, the same high that we get from carbs, the same high that we get from alcohol, the same high that we get from cigs, whatever, you can achieve the same feeling by working out because it's releasing dopamine in the same exact way that those other substances that you consume get from you, you know? I'm no doctor, but I watch a lot of TED Talks and I've read a lot of books about this. Because I've spent a lot of decades trying to understand myself. And so I'm just spitting wisdom. I don't know if this is wisdom. This might just be blabbering. But dysregulating my day-to-day, week-to-week routine, knowing that I'm going to be behind on work, knowing I'm going to have to catch up on homework, knowing that my dog is not eating and is distressed that I'm gone, knowing that I am not working out because I'm traveling and my wallet got stolen, which had my gym pass in it. So I had to go figure out the gym pass replacement thing. And I flew out of town the next day, less than 24 hours later, and I'm gone for 4 days. So I didn't get to fix my gym pass situation until I got back. And today was the first time I got to work out. So my mental health definitely feels like it's not doing great this last week. And it's because of all those reasons. And maybe those are good reasons. Maybe that's a good list of reasons. That's kind of a lot in a very short span of time. That's a lot to happen in like less than 5 days. So, I have my car broken into and ransacked. I had my wallet stolen and the guy tried to spend my money but wasn't successful, thank God. Then I'm traveling without a driver's license for the first time traveling during a pandemic. So I've learned all the regulations. I've had to, do the paperwork to get into Hawaii. Don't forget your vaccine card. Don't forget your passport. Now I don't have a credit card for like an emergency expense if there is one. I just have the cash that's in my account that I can get with a debit card. But, credit cards are nice for emergencies. And then my dog, I wasn't actively stressed out about him, but I think it was passively happening in the back of my mind and drained the bejesus out of me because I'm worried about him. He's not eating, he's vomiting, he's diarrhea, and the neighbor's got to clean it up. It's happening in her house and her yard. Now I feel bad for her. I feel bad for him. I'm like, God, I'm here for my sister's wedding. I'm not going to regret that. And I just it is what it is. Like, these things just are what they are. They happen. Bad things happen. Good things happen. And things are just things and they happen. And I'm not going to read into these things. I don't think there's any value in that. I'm not going to try to analyze the why. Why did this guy break into my truck? Why did he have to steal my wallet? Why? I don't think that I'm going to get any helpful information by doing that. Even if I do get answers, are they going to help me? Are they going to change anything? No, because it already happened and it is what it is, bitch. I'm talking to myself. But now I'm feeling like, okay, Holly, it makes sense why you've been in a funk for 6 days. That's a lot on your nervous system. That was a lot on my brain to deal with in 4 or 5 days. I'm laughing because I'm just like, God, your life is such a shit show. There's always something wrong. But that's what Traumedy Hour is for, right? For me to share these things and ponder them and process them and analyze them. And I am accepting that I am a highly sensitive person who's easily dysregulated by disruptions to the routine. And I'm not a nomad, or, I'm not even sure what to compare myself to, because everyone is unique in their own little ways, and this is how I'm unique, and I'm not going to force myself to change. I'm not going to force myself to be uncomfortable and dysregulated just so I can travel all the time. I don't know. I don't even think that this realization of a characteristic of mine requires any behavior modifications. There's nothing for me to change. It's about being aware and accepting. I'm now aware of how easily dysregulated I am when my routine is interrupted. I can prepare for it, or I can just know it's going to happen and be ready. And I can maybe allot for a couple extra days after a vacation that I just plan to decompress and relax, or whatever I need to do. One day wasn't enough. I gave myself one day to sleep in and unpack and do laundry. And while those things are good, it was not enough for me to emotionally unpack how I was feeling and do my emotional laundry, which is what I'm doing right now. I definitely think there's value in analyzing things like this and being aware of your feelings, especially when they're negative. When I have negative feelings like this, or I'm like, Jesus, when am I going to be in a better mood? Instead of getting frustrated and snapping at myself like a mean parent, I'm trying to take a moment and sit with it and ask myself questions. There was a quote. This is something I was talking about to my friends today. There was a quote that I heard on Instagram. It was a guy talking. I'm so sorry. I did not take a screenshot or whatever. And he was talking about some of the ways he really improved his mental health. One of the things that he said was he started to treat himself as if he were someone he was responsible for taking care of. That really shifted my mind a lot. I heard this a couple weeks ago, a week or two, I don't even remember, and it has stuck with me like an arrow in my head. Instead of scolding myself like a disciplinarian or an authoritarian, I'm trying to treat myself as if I were responsible for taking care of me, which I am. I just haven't thought about it that way. So it's like, okay, Holly, you're feeling really upset and frustrated and tired and crabby, and it's been going on for a few days. Let's talk through that a little bit, I think it's okay to role play with yourself, by the way. This is how I talk to myself in my head when I'm having a really hard time. Not all day. I don't have the type of energy to talk like this all day to myself. But when I'm having a really hard time, I do talk to myself like a healthy parent talking to a child, because there's usually something going on internally that you need to step outside of it for a second. And the way that you can step outside of it is to become your own loving parent, like I learned in the 12-step group, is to be your own parent in that moment and say, you seem like you're kind of having a hard time. What's going on? Let's talk about it. And that is how you would treat someone that you were taking care of, right? If you're a healthy adult. If you're not a healthy adult, you're probably an asshole and you're yelling and scolding and critiquing yourself and punishing yourself, which is what I usually do. Is what I did for the first 28 years of my life. It's only in the last 2 years that I've learned to talk to myself like this, where instead of being that asshole parent, I'm the loving parent who I just treat myself the way that I wish I was treated as a kid. Oh, it's hard to tell the truth when I'm trying not to say anything about my parents. Emotional regulation was never taught to me. There was no such thing as checking in with how I was feeling. I don't have memories of anything like that from growing up where it's tell me why you're feeling so upset. I've always been so critical of my feelings and my reactions and myself. And I've really been working hard to not do that and to be the loving, attentive parent that I need, and instead of the critic that I am. I've realized through a lot of therapy and working on myself that it's not possible to become the person you want to become if you're talking shit about yourself all day. If you are saying things to yourself that you would not say to your best friends and your family, then you're saying bad things. So if you're talking to yourself in a way that you wouldn't want other people to hear, or that you would not talk to someone else, then it's likely that you're talking shit to yourself, and you're not going to be able to heal or grow or move forward until you address that. At least in my experience, that's how it was. I had to work through that before I could reach this level of self-awareness and emotional maturity. I had to deal with the negative self-talk first, because that is a concrete wall between you and your goals. I'm just telling you right now, you're not going to achieve anything until you can be kind to yourself. Anything you achieve while you are being an asshole to yourself is most likely going to be temporary. It's not going to sustain itself because you're acting. You know, I say this sternly from a place of love and from someone who has literally just lived through it in the last couple years. I thought that I could read my way through it, that I could talk my way through it, that I could think my way through it, that I could believe my way through it, that I could just outsmart myself. And I couldn't. You can't. I had to address the negative self-image and the negative self-tapes that were playing in my head before I could move to the next level. It's a game, dude. It's a fucking game. You gotta play chess with yourself. You gotta deal with your bullshit, and then you can move your pieces. If you know of anyone who has been able to become a well-rounded, emotionally healthy person without dealing with their own bullshit, let me know. I would love to meet them if you are aware of anyone who has gotten around science. Anybody who's been able to circumvent neuroscience and the way that the brain works, let me know. I would love to talk to them. That's another thing that helps me deal with myself, is I challenge myself by saying, oh, do you think you're above biology and science and the body and the brain? Do you think you're an exception to how the brain works? No, I don't. There's people who have spent their lifetimes studying psychology and the way that we can change our behavior, and I know better than to think I know more than them. Well, now I'm rambling for sure. But this is a real-time processing of my own emotions. So I'm walking away from this feeling like I understand myself a little bit better, and I feel more compassion for myself for the stress that I've been feeling and the down blue feeling I've had for the last 6 days. I can acknowledge that there were quite a few pieces at play that contributed to my feeling like this, and there was no like quick fix that I missed, like I wish I could have prevented this. It is what it is. Life is what it is. These things happen in a very short period of time, and it's not even that big of a deal, but I walked away from it needing a lot of recovery time. Yeah, it's not even that big of a deal, these things I'm talking about, but I feel like this is a really good example. This is just neutral of enough of an example that it could apply to anyone, and perhaps this is helpful to you. It's just one of the tools I've learned and adopted that works for me, which is to sit with myself and gently parent myself and try to peel back the layers of my feelings, because I have found that it's a garbage compactor. If you just keep on pushing your feelings down, you're just compacting the garbage. You got to sift through it and take the trash out. Otherwise, you are going to turn into a human landfill. And I have seen that in person. I have experienced that, and I knew that that was the direction I was headed if I didn't take my fucking trash out. I don't want to be a landfill. I want to be a sparkling, clean, empty dumpster. I do not want to be an emotional landfill of garbage. I want to peel back the layers because I know it's going to be hard either way. So I would rather do the hard work and have it be better at the end of it than be worse. Life is going to be bullshit either way. So you can live through the bullshit life and be a shitty person at the end of it, or you can live through this bullshit life and be a better person at the end of it. Those are your choices. If you know of a third choice, please let me know. You either don't get better and you get worse, or you just stay shitty, or you get better and you become a better person, and you learn to communicate better, and you learn to listen better, and you learn to do those things by doing them with yourself. So to be a better listener, you need to listen to yourself. To be a better communicator, you need to communicate with yourself. To be able to understand other people's emotions, you need to be able to understand your own. Does this make sense? What are my takeaways? Let me think about what I can take away from this little exercise I've done with myself. I've worked out my feelings with my friends, and now in this podcast episode, I have neutrally analyzed them without judgment, analyze my behaviors and my thoughts without judgment. That's the important piece. Do not analyze with judgment and critique. You're not really going to get anywhere. It's okay to analyze your behaviors and your thoughts if you're doing it non-judgmentally. Judgment doesn't get us anywhere, and neither does shame. Check out Brene Brown and her podcast episode on shame. She's a shame researcher who has spent decades studying social science and shame and vulnerability. And even her, the number one scientific resource on human shame and vulnerability, says that shaming other people for their bad behaviors does not do anything beneficial. It doesn't elicit changes. It doesn't elicit closer relationship with that person. It does quite the opposite. So if the number one shame researcher in the world that I'm aware of says that shame doesn't benefit us, then why do we do it? Why should I do that to myself? Why should I shame myself for my feelings? Why should I shame myself for how I responded to my life? There is no value in shaming myself. We're not talking about a natural feeling of ashamed, like I'm feeling ashamed of something I did. In my opinion, that feeling is naturally elicited by doing something and then feeling ashamed of it. That's different than purposefully shaming yourself in an attempt to control or change your behavior or someone else's. I have definitely done that, and it has never worked. I have tried to shame others and shame myself mercilessly into new behaviors, and it doesn't work. Never has, and I don't believe that it ever will. So if you are currently trying to use shame to change yourself or to talk to yourself, and maybe you're doing it subconsciously because you haven't gotten to the point in this exercise where you sit with your feelings, start there, sit with yourself and talk to yourself about how you're feeling and where those feelings might be coming from, and try to sit in the gray area. I fucking hate the gray area, but I try to sit there. I don't try to say this feeling is wrong or this feeling is right or this feeling is bad or this feeling is good. Those are black and white things. Try to sit in the gray. Don't title it or label it or give it a rating. Don't shame yourself. How do you feel? What does that feel like? What does that make your body feel like? How is that making your life better? How is that making your life worse? How is that affecting your relationships with yourself and with other people? What could potentially be the cause of this feeling? What might have been triggered? What might this be tied to? What are some ways you can avoid this in the future? This is literally how I talk to myself when I'm really upset now, not 3 years ago. And it has helped me significantly to learn how to do these exercises. I can walk away from this having more compassion on myself now that I've thought through all the things that I didn't consciously tie together until now, which is a lot of little tiny stressful events were happening in a very short period of time, and that drained my nervous system and completely crashed me. And I had 6 days of fatigue and crankiness. And it's hormonal cycles, it's travel stress, it's being robbed of my wallet, it's a pandemic going on. It's a lot of things at one time. We are all human beings, myself included, and we're not impervious or robotic. We're not made of stainless steel that's unaffected by the happenings of the world. One of the things that separates humans from everyone else is our emotional capacity and our capacity to feel things and to empathize and to understand and to comprehend and to analyze. This is a gift to have a brain that can do this. And don't throw your gift away, you know? I view it as a gift to be able to think like this, to be able to analyze like this, to be able to have the neuroplasticity to change your behavior if you want to. I don't think even animals can do that. Animals have to be trained by other people to do that. The animal instinct is so strong. I don't know that an animal could consciously choose to change their behavior unless they are trained otherwise. We, as humans, get to choose. I get to choose to change my behavior if I want to. That to me feels like a gift. It does not feel like a burden. I feel lucky that I'm not a plant or an animal and that I get to choose how to live, and I can choose to change a behavior that's no longer serving me, and I can choose to build on behaviors that are serving me well. And I can choose to share those things that I've learned or changed or that I am currently learning with other people, you know? That's the beauty of being a human being. And I feel lucky every single day that I have a healthy, functioning brain that allows me to change my behavior if I want to. It's not always easy, but it's doable. I think it's a gift personally, and I use it as such. So hopefully we can all walk away from this conversation with some things to think about. My goal in these episodes is never to tell you what to do or to come out like I've figured everything out. I'm not at all coming from that place. I think there's plenty of people on the internet like that are going to tell you what to do and act like they have it all figured out, and you can go watch them and listen to them if you want to, but that's not me. I'm coming here to work it out in front of you so you can see how I do it and perhaps take some tools away from this that might help you, or maybe it just helps you think. I'm not trying to cure anyone's diseases. I'm not trying to be Jesus on the Mount and preach at you. That is not at all the place that I come from, and I hope that that comes through in these episodes. I'm sharing my real self. This is 100% real and unscripted, and I have shared what came into my mind. It's not that I'm trying to coddle people and make everyone listen to this and walk away feeling so much better. I'm just trying to be real and give you some things to think about. And maybe you're going to walk away from listening to this and feel no different. And that's okay with me. I hope it's okay with you. I'm not trying to elicit any specific emotions from you. I'm just sharing. And hopefully in my sharing, you've learned something about yourself, about someone you care about, or maybe about me. Maybe you care about me and you wanted to learn something new about me, and you did. But I've learned something new about myself in this conversation too. I will add that the act of acceptance is not a one-time event. So when I say that I'm accepting this trait in me, which is that I am highly sensitive and easily dysregulated, I have to accept that every day. I don't get to just say it this one time and then boom, done, fixed, acceptance, check. I have to do this actively every day because this issue takes time. You know, you have to, like, it's not even an issue. These things take time. Accepting yourself takes time. Learning about yourself takes time. It's the same thing as getting a fucking degree, dude. It takes time. Learning a new trade takes time. Getting to know a new person takes time. Everything takes time. So just know that if you've got things you need to accept in yourself or in other people, acceptance is a recurring thing. It is not a one-time deal. So I'm going to actively continue to accept myself and accept this piece of myself because it made me feel weird. I don't like to feel weird. And I can't, it's too big of a piece of me to fight it off or to change it. It's something I'm choosing to accept. And if it becomes an issue in my future, maybe I'll change it. But right now, I can accept that I am very sensitive to changes in my environment and my routine and the people around me and etc. A lot of what I say could just be wrapped up in etc., etc., etc. My hope for you is that you're able to sit with an uncomfortable feeling that you have this week and gently talk to yourself about it. That's all I hope. And if you do that this week, let me know. I'd be curious to know what you thought, how it went, how you felt. Maybe you hated it. Maybe you weren't able to do it. I don't know. Remember that it is an active, continuing process to accept yourself and to understand yourself. It's not a one-time deal. So if you're able to sit with some negative emotions this week and think about them and be gentle with yourself. I'd be curious to hear how it goes, so let me know. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I care about you, I appreciate you, and I hope you have a good week. I'll see you next time.